Every county in New Jersey thinks it's the best one, and they're all wrong except yours, which we'll get to in this video. This state is small, it's crowded, and everyone in it is an expert on the 4 square miles they grew up in and nothing else. You know your town, you know your diner, and you'll die defending your beach. But ask somebody from Bergen what's worth doing in Salem, and they'll stare at you like you've started speaking in tongues. So that's what we're settling today. We're going over some of the best things to do in each county, all 21 in no particular order, because the second I rank them, I get 40 angry comments from Burlington. Some you might have been to 100 times, some are 20 minutes from your house, and at least one is going to make you stop and think, no way that's in Jersey, let's go. We start in Atlantic County, home of the Atlantic City Boardwalk, the oldest boardwalk in the world. And you can tell because half of it is casinos with neon lights. The other half is held together by duct tape and broken dreams. The steel pier juts into the ocean with a giant observation wheel, so you pay $20 to look down at a city that is just casinos and the regret around it. But the real move is Margate, where a 6-story elephant named Lucy has been standing since 1881, and you can climb up inside her and stand in her belly, because in the 1800s, a guy decided the best way to sell real estate was a giant tin elephant, and it worked. So who's the idiot? And historic Smithville is a restored old village with little shops and a duck pond, where Atlantic County goes to pretend it has its life together. Up to Bergen County, which spent years and billions of dollars building American Dream, a mall so big it has an indoor ski slope with real snow, the only one in the hemisphere, next to an indoor Nickelodeon theme park with full roller coasters, because Bergen looked at the concept of weather and said no thanks. The best thing here is free, though, the Palisades Cliffs and the State Line Lookout, where you stand 500 feet up and look across the Hudson at the Manhattan skyline like you own it, which spiritually you kind of do. And in Paramus, between the 11,000 stores, Van Sound Park has the Bergen County Zoo, which exists mainly so parents have something to do that isn't the mall, a pressing crisis in this area. Now deep south to Cumberland County, a place nobody drives to unless they're lost or related to someone down there, which is exactly why it kept the cool stuff. Millville has Wheaton Arts, where you watch people blow molten glass into actual art, because South Jersey used to be the glass-making capital of the country, and Cumberland never let it go. Bridgeton has Cohanzick Zoo, the oldest zoo in New Jersey, and it's free, which down here counts as a flex. And Vineland has the Delsey Drive-In, the only drive-in movie theater left in the entire state, proof that Cumberland is running 30 years behind everyone else and thriving because of it. Back north to Morris County, where Morristown National Historical Park is the spot Washington and the Continental Army froze through the winter of 1779 into 1780, somehow worse than Valley Forge, and Jockey Hollow is where they camped. Downtown Morristown has the Green, a gorgeous colonial square now ringed by restaurants where finance guys explain their fantasy football trades too loudly. And up in the corner is Lake Hopatcong, the biggest freshwater lake in New Jersey, where everyone owns a boat they use 4 times a year and a lake house they argue about at Thanksgiving. Cape May County is 2 completely different vacations stacked on top of each other. Cape May itself, at the very tip of the state, has the largest collection of Victorian houses in the country, and it's a National Historic Landmark, which is a polite way of saying you cannot paint your shutters whatever color you want. Out at Cape May Point, you've got the lighthouse you can climb, Sunset Beach, where people hunt for so-called Cape May diamonds, and the skeleton of a concrete ship that sank in 1926 and just stayed. Then 20 minutes north is Wildwood, the exact opposite. A loud boardwalk with a beach so massive you practically need a vehicle to reach the ocean, where the tramcar has been telling you to watch the tramcar for 60 straight years, and you do. Hudson County is the most New York-adjacent place that will fight you for comparing it to New York. Liberty State Park has the best free view of the Manhattan skyline anywhere. plus the ferry to the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island, which you reach from the Jersey side, a fact New York will deny to its grave. Hoboken's waterfront gives you that same skyline, and Washington Street has Carlo's Bakery, the cake boss place, where tourists wait 45 minutes for a cannoli while every actual Hoboken resident walks past it to a better one. And downtown Jersey City along Newark Avenue is now one of the best restaurant strips in the state, full of people who got priced out of Brooklyn and refused to talk about it. Ocean County has Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, which for 20 years had King Dakar, the tallest roller coaster on the planet, until they literally imploded it with explosives in 2025 to build something taller, the most New Jersey way imaginable to handle a midlife crisis. It's also got the Safari, the biggest drive-through animal park outside Africa, where a giraffe will lean into your Honda. Down the shore, Seaside Heights gave the world the Jersey Shorecast and has spent a decade quietly recovering. And the best beach in the state is arguably Island Beach State Park, 10 miles of untouched dune, sitting across the water from Old Barney, the lighthouse everyone's grandparents have the exact same photo in front of. Hunterdon County is horse country, which is rich people code for we have land and you don't. Clinton has the Red Mill, a bright red 1810 mill on the river that is the single most photographed building in New Jersey. Round Valley Reservoir is a man-made lake so clear and turquoise people genuinely think it's the Caribbean, right up until they remember there's a flooded town at the bottom of it. And Frenchtown is a tiny Delaware River town full of art galleries and people who left the city to open a pottery studio and have never been happier or more annoying about it. Essex County is where Thomas Edison actually invented half the modern world. The Edison National Historical Park in West Orange is his real lab, preserved exactly as he left it, including the cot where he napped because the man worked himself half to death and called it genius. West Orange also has the Turtleback Zoo and South Mountain Reservation, 2,000 acres of real forest 15 minutes from Newark. And here's the one nobody believes. Branch Brook Park in Newark has more cherry blossom trees than Washington, D.C. Newark beats the nation's capital at its own signature event every spring, and almost nobody outside Essex knows it. Monmouth County has Asbury Park, where Bruce Springsteen built his entire mythology at the Stone Pony, and where the boardwalk went from completely abandoned to so cool it's exhausting in about a decade. Sandy Hook is a 7-mile barrier beach with the oldest working lighthouse in the country and the ruins of Fort Hancock, an old army base you can walk through, plus a famously clothing-optional stretch you're now going to look up. Red Bank is the creative money downtown with the Count Basie Theater and Kevin Smith's comic shop because the man made Clerks and spent the money on a store in his hometown, the most loyal thing a human being has ever done. Salem County is the least populated county in the state, and it's hiding a rodeo. Cowtown Rodeo in Piles Grove is the longest-running weekly rodeo in America. Every Saturday night all summer, real bull riding, real cowboys in New Jersey, which nobody is prepared for the first time. Fort Mott State Park is an old coastal defense fort built to protect Philadelphia from a naval attack that never came. So now it's just gorgeous concrete bunkers on the Delaware with a national cemetery beside it. And the Hancock House is a 1734 brick house that was the site of a Revolutionary War massacre. A heavy thing to say about a county most people drive through with their eyes closed. Passaic County has the Great Falls of Patterson, a 77-foot waterfall thundering through the middle of a city, which Alexander Hamilton looked at and decided to build America's first planned industrial city around, so American manufacturing basically started at a waterfall in Patterson. Up on Garrett Mountain, there's Lambert Castle, an actual castle built by a silk baron who came from nothing. And Ringwood State Park has Skylands Manor and the New Jersey Botanical Garden, formal gardens that feel like you accidentally drove into England. Mercer County has Princeton, where the university campus is so beautiful it makes you angry, all Gothic stone and old money. But the sleeper pick is grounds for sculpture in Hamilton. 42 acres of gardens stuffed with massive sculptures you walk among, built by a Johnson & Johnson heir. Genuinely one of the coolest places in the state that nobody talks about. And Washington Crossing is where Washington actually crossed the Delaware on Christmas night in 1776 to go win the war, right there on the Jersey side, which Pennsylvania also claims, and they can fight us for it. Sussex County is a part of New Jersey that looks nothing like New Jersey. High Point State Park is the literal highest spot in the state, nearly 2,000 feet, with a giant stone monument on top, and on a clear day you can see 3 states, none of which believe you're standing in Jersey. Mountain Creek in Vernon is a legitimate ski mountain in the winter and a water park in the summer, because Sussex refuses to pick a season. And Lake Mohawk is a private lake community built to look like a Swiss alpine village. So charming and out of place, you'll forget you're down the street from a Walmart. Gloucester County's best attraction involves jumping out of a plane. Skydive Cross Keys in Williamstown is one of the busiest drop zones on the East Coast, so the single most extreme thing you can do in New Jersey is happening in a county most people couldn't find on a map. If you'd rather keep your feet on the ground, Mullica Hill is a whole town of antique shops where you can buy a dead stranger's furniture and call it character. And Red Bank Battlefield, not the Monmouth Red Bank, this one's in Gloucester, is where a small American force absolutely wrecked a much larger Hessian attack in 1777. A genuine upset win sitting quietly on the Delaware. Union County has the Watchung Reservation, 2,000 acres of woods hiding the deserted village of Feltville, an actual abandoned 1800s village in the forest that you can walk through. The best free spooky afternoon in North Jersey. There's Liberty Hall in Union, a 50-room mansion that started as a 14-room house in 1772 and just kept growing for 200 years like the family couldn't stop. And downtown Westfield at night is a packed, walkable, lit-up downtown with more restaurants than a town that size deserves, full of finance dads and quarter zips who refer to their house as an asset. Middlesex County has New Brunswick, a real college city built around Rutgers with the State Theater, a serious restaurant scene, and the specific energy of a town where 40,000 students are always either studying or extremely not. In Edison, there's the Edison Memorial Tower at Menlo Park, a tower with a giant light bulb on top, marking the exact spot where Edison invented the practical light bulb, which means the light bulb was born in a town that later renamed itself after him, the boldest branding move in Jersey history. And Cheesequake State Park, with the best name in the state, is where the northern and southern ecosystems meet. Warren County has the Delaware Water Gap, where the river cut a massive notch through the mountains. And Mount Tammany is the hike everyone does, straight up brutal, with a payoff view that makes the line of people gasping at the top almost worth it. There's Land of Make-Believe and Hope, an old-school family amusement park that has survived every trend since 1954 by simply not changing a single thing. And that's the appeal. And Jenny Jump State Forest is named after a girl who, according to legend, jumped off a cliff back in the 1700s, a deeply unsettling thing to name a family campground after. And yet here we are. Camden County has the battleship New Jersey docked on the waterfront, the most decorated battleship in U.S. Navy history, and you can sleep on it overnight, which a surprising number of people do on purpose. Right next door is the Adventure Aquarium, home of the Shark Bridge, a rope bridge stretched directly over a tank of sharks because someone in Camden decided the regular aquarium experience needed more cardiac risk. And just outside the city, Collingswood and Haddonfield are two of the best food and shopping towns in South Jersey, Collingswood being famously dry and BYOB, so you bring your own bottle and skip the markup, the most reasonable thing any New Jersey town has ever done. Somerset County has Duke Farms in Hillsborough, an enormous estate that tobacco heiress Doris Duke turned into a free public nature preserve, 1,000 acres of trails and meadows, which is what happens when an absurdly rich person actually does something nice for once. In Far Hills, there's the USGA Golf Museum, the official museum of American golf, which exists because Somerset takes golf the way other places take religion. And downtown Somerville's Division Street is a closed-off pedestrian stretch packed with restaurants, the kind of strip every Jersey downtown is now trying to copy, and most are failing at. And we finish in Burlington County, the biggest county in the state by land, most of which is the Pine Barrens. Over 1 million acres of pine forest, tea-colored rivers, and the legend of the Jersey Devil, who has lived there since 1735 and pays no property tax. You can paddle the Mullica River through Wharton State Forest for hours and see nobody, which in the most densely populated state in America is a genuine miracle. Mount Holly is a walkable historic town with a working 1796 prison museum. And Burlington City has a colonial riverfront on the Delaware older than the country itself, quietly having seen everything and telling no one. And so there you have it. 21 counties, 21 best attractions, and a state that has the oldest this, the only that, and the biggest something hiding in the places people fly over. Drop your county in the comments and tell me if I got yours right, or tell me I'm an idiot and what I should have picked instead. Either way, you're watching this again to find out.